Do we have the thumbs up? Okay. Melanie's thumb is up. Good morning. Welcome to our fourth Sunday hymn sing for May. This is our last one for the season, but we'll be back again when the schedule allows. My name is Sue Long Ellenberger, and I'm joined today in the pew by Michaela Komenchek and at the organ, Sean Brown. Our first request for today is not in our hymnal. And I had to do a little research to find out why it's not. One of our loyal online viewers made this request months ago, and it took me a while to figure out how to handle the fact that it's not in the hymnal. It appears in many other hymnals, but our current version of the hymnal, which was published in the 80s, does not contain it. It wasn't in the previous version from the 1950s, and it wasn't from the one before that published in the 1930s. It is pretty familiar, though, Just a Closer Walk with Thee. I discovered that perhaps the reason it sounds so familiar is that it was most often performed either as a solo or by a choir instead of sung by a congregation. So if you take a look at the page that I handed out for Just a Closer Walk with Thee, you'll see it has verses 1, 2, and 3, and then there's a fourth line in italics. That is the refrain. So you sing all the way to the end of verse 1, go back and sing the bottom line, the refrain. Then verse 2, go all the way back and sing the same refrain again. So we're going to sing it Sean is going to play it 6 times altogether. Take it away, Sean. Just a Closer Walk with Thee is listed as anonymous for both the author of the text and the composer of the tune. It probably evolved over generations. It apparently originated in the 1930s and 40s in the south of the United States, probably among African American congregations, and has spread from there. Next, we're going to sing three requests that are in our hymnal. I've asked Sean to play each one all the way through before we start singing. The first one is number 382, Have Thine Own Way. This is one that we talked about over a year ago. Adelaide Pollard, who is the author of the text, wanted to be a missionary, but at that time was unable to raise funds to pay her passage to Africa. She ended up writing the text of this hymn after attending a prayer service in 1902 when she heard an elderly woman say, "It doesn't really matter what you do with us, Lord, just have your own way with our lives." Adelaide Pollard was inspired, and she wrote all 4 stanzas that night before she went to bed. The line which says, "Thou art the potter, I am the clay," was inspired by the story of the potter in Jeremiah chapter 18. The text surrenders all control to the Lord, invoking his spirit to cleanse, mold, and transform. The tune name is called Adelaide, after the author, and it was written specifically for this text. Take it away, Sean.
Are we doing all 4 verses?
Let's do 2 verses.
Okay.
2 verses. Because we got kind of a late start, we're going to shorten up on the number of verses that we sing. The next one is number 327, Crown Him with Many Crowns. Matthew Bridges wrote a 6-stanza text called Crown Him with Many Crowns that was published in 1851. And then Godfrey Thring wrote a different version in 1874. If you look at the lower left corner of the page, you'll see that both names are listed. The tune, if you look at the lower right, is called Diademata, which means crowns. It was written in 1868 for the hymn, but it's such a strong, stirring, and joyful melody that it's used for 3 other hymn texts in this very hymnal. I want to mention that the version of the text printed in our hymnal is pretty similar for other hymnals. The second verse is one that was written by Godfrey Thring. The other 3 verses are from Matthew Bridges' original set of 6. So Sean's going to play it through all the way, and we will sing verses 1 and 2 to sample both authors. Talking as Sean switches over to the piano for our last request. You will have a chance to ask to sing others. We just won't hear background about them. The next one is number 558, 558 at the bottom. There are actually 2 hymns on that page. The one at the bottom, "We Are the Church," is our request. This is a relatively contemporary hymn dated 1972. It was written by a singer-songwriter team of Presbyterian ministers. Richard Kingsley Avery and Donald Stewart Marsh collaborated on more than 150 songs, in addition to pastoring churches. They performed together beginning in the late 1960s and continued into the 1990s. And the article that I read said it breathed new life into classical worship structures and hymns and introduced then emerging forms of worship and more modern songs. And they went around to conferences and national assemblies, that's why this particular hymn made it into our hymnal. You'll notice that the refrain is the beginning, down at the bottom of the left-hand page, and then there are 5 verses at the bottom of the right-hand page, and we're going to sing all 5 of them. Notice that the 5th verse talks about Pentecost. So Sean's going to play it all the way through so we can enjoy singing it, and then if you have a request, we'll be glad to take that. This is your big chance. What else would you like to sing? We have a tie. Linda? 328. Aha, 328, surely the presence of the Lord. Let's sing this through twice.
You want me to play it all the way through with this?
No, just give us a little, couple phrase intro and we'll sing twice. Liz? 400, 400. Come, thou fount of every blessing. Liz, are you okay if we do just the first two verses? Okay. All right, first two verses and just short intro.
What's an Ebenezer? I don't know.
An altar to the praise of God where something has been achieved. Abraham built one in Bethel.
Samuel raised his first Ebenezer.
Yes, that was.
Ebenezer literally means stone of help, a helping stone. And when Samuel defeated the Philistines, he took a rock that was laying there and he stood it up and said, "This is where we defeated you. God helped us defeat the Philistines." That's what he did. And we have an Ebenezer in front of our house. So what happened to the explanations of the song?
Well, this was a request from the pew, and actually we talked about that a year ago when it was requested in advance. So thank you, Reverend Ash, for reminding us of what an Ebenezer is.
Like Michaela found out the meaning of Sheol.
Yes.
That was in the song earlier.
I learned about what Sheol meant from Jamie's song. What is it?
Sheol is not quite hell. It's a place where people go after they die.
Like purgatory.
Like purgatory, like limbo, but it's the Hebrew version of that. Not purgatory. It's not the version of heaven.
This reminds me that the online viewer, who's a loyal follower of our hymn sings, got so interested in the history of hymns that she's now looking stuff up on her own. Any other requests for today? Mary Ann? 393? 393. 393. This is another one that we'll sing through twice.